Hey folks, welcome into this next lesson. We're going to get into talking about your gear. We're talking about your microphones. We're talking about your interfaces, your headphones, your speakers. All of these things are the gear that you're going to need to make sure that you get the best that you can get. As with anything, you get what you pay for. In the first lesson that we had in this free segment, we talked about how important your environment is. And it doesn't matter if you have the best gear in the world, if your environment is not appropriate, you are wasting time and money. So I cannot reiterate that enough. You need to make sure that your recording environment is on point. So let's get into some of the gear that we're going to be talking about right now. This microphone that you're looking at in this video, this is what's called a dynamic microphone. It's actually an Electro Voice RE320. I used to use this for voiceover years ago, and it performed extremely well. So what you have in a dynamic microphone is a different sort of recording pattern than you have in a condenser microphone. A condenser microphone is going to pick up much more of the room, whereas the dynamic microphone like this one, it's going to be more close proximity and it's not going to capture as much. It's still going to capture, believe me, it's still going to capture a lot of stuff outside of your voice if you're not in an appropriate environment, but it can be a little bit more forgiving. However, inside of my booth that you see behind me, I have a shotgun condenser mic inside of the booth because I'm able to control my sound a lot more. Now, in the industry of voiceover, most voice actors are going to be using a condenser microphone. You may have seen different types of microphones as far as in different YouTube videos that you've watched and things of that nature. So when you're looking at purchasing something, here's one of the key things. There are ways that you can, like, maybe go to Guitar Center or someplace like that if you have one in your area to actually check out different microphones to see what sounds better on your voice. But the key test is going to be what happens when you get it back to your recording environment. Nothing matters until you hear it in that environment. You can even ask some different places if you can rent one, if you can borrow one, or whatever to see what your voice is literally going to sound like in some of these things, because it is that important. And if you start off with the things that I'm talking to you about now, as far as your recording environment and selecting your microphone, if you take the time to start off and get it right at the beginning, you don't have anything to worry about later on. You may see different microphones that, even myself uses, other coaches uses, different people you've seen on YouTube, and they rave about their microphones. Well, the reason that they rave about their microphones is because of how it makes them sound in the recording environment that they're in. You will be amazed at how different you sound in someone else's space or as opposed to your space. So, when it comes down to selecting a microphone, you want to at least spend in the range of somewhere around 400 to $1,000. I'm just suggesting that right off the bat. Do you have to spend that much money? No, you don't. But if you're serious about your craft, one of the things that you're going to do is invest in the best possible gear that you can afford. Now, again, I'm going to suggest a condenser microphone, something like a TLM 103 or even a, what's it called, Sennheiser MKH 416, which is a shotgun mic that a lot of studios have now. It is like the rave of voiceover as at the time of this recording. So your microphone is extremely important as well. Understanding the microphone. Some of them have different settings where you can roll off the bass or leave it flat. You've got to understand your voice and how your voice is going to sound once you start messing with some of the buttons, if they have buttons on your microphone. The next thing after your microphone is going to be your audio interface, or in some cases, a mixer. Most times what I want to make sure that before I purchase anything is that, especially a mixer, is that you want to make sure that it is USB capable or it comes with a USB cord so that you can plug it right into your computer. There are some outstanding mixers that are out there, but most voice actors, especially when you get higher up, they're going to be using something like an Apollo Twin MK2 or one of the Apollo line audio interfaces from Universal Audio. There are other audio interfaces out there. You've got the Focusrite, which I've used in the past for years. I just recently switched over to the Apollo at the time of this recording. And when you're using an audio interface, you want to make sure that you understand a few key things about input levels and output levels. I recently did a webinar and I'll show you some things here in this video or give you a link to that so that you can really see some things about how your input levels and output levels ought to be. It's one of the biggest mistakes that voice actors make is not paying enough attention to that or flat out just not knowing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a link so that you can watch a free webinar that I did on that as well, on how to set your input levels and output levels, because so many times that we know about, many of us know about the -3 dB thing. You want to normalize a -3 dB. But did you know that there's an input level that you need to meet as well, even before you get to the normalization in your audio processing and the post processing part? So, when you're talking about audio interfaces, there are some great ones. I mean, a lot of people use the ones from Focusrite, like the Focusrite 2i2 or even the Focusrite Solo. I think I might even have one of those here. Yeah, I do. This is a Focusrite Solo. Many of you, this is all you would probably need. As you can see, it's got one mic input. That's all you need. This is USB capable. And then you've got the rings that'll show you if you're on point with the input levels. You notice that one of those rings is green, the other one is red. Red is bad, green is good. So that gives you a little bit of information on the input levels that you're going to need to make sure that you have. And whether you're using a mixer, something like a Focusrite, or even an Apollo, it's going to have these levels, these lights that will light up to show you what your input range is. But the biggest test is inside of your DAW. That's the biggest test. Now, when we get into talking about speakers and headphones, there are some people that love to use speakers. I have two JBL speakers on either side of me at this point, and then I also have a pair of headphones from Sennheiser. And I'll link in the description so that you can see all of the gear that I actually use, and I'll link somewhere along this video to show you how you can get a hold to those as well. But you want to have something that you can monitor with or listen back to. If you're listening to your audio like off of your laptop speaker, you're not getting the true sound. You're just not. You're going to want at some point, probably first thing you want to do is invest in a good pair of headphones. There are some people that only listen on headphones. I do both. I love listening to it on my JBL speakers, JBL 300 series that I have, because it gives me a full, rich sound. And also, another little trick is if I record something and I'm wondering about the audio, I download it on my phone and I go listen to it in my car on my Bose system, just to really get the full effect of what's happening. But you want to be able to hear, and as you get better and better, you're going to hear more and more things that disturb you inside of your audio. And the only way to do that is with a good pair of headphones and or a great pair of speakers. There are some people that are purists. They will only listen to something on their headphones. They will only edit on their headphones. And actually, I do edit on my headphones a lot because you want to catch the little nuances that are there, whether it's background noise or things like that, to know how to take that stuff out. And let me just tell you, when it comes down to your gear and your software, which I'm going to get into the next part of this, being able to develop that ear to hear stuff that ought not be in your audio is crucial. It's crucial. And we're going to get into that probably a little bit later in some of the upcoming videos that I've got coming in this free section of basically how to start, build, and grow a successful voiceover business. So I hope this has been helpful. in regards to how you should select your gear. Again, I'm going to link to a bunch of things here on this video, right below this video, that you can click on and take a look at and see how you might want to go selecting either your initial gear or some better gear because you're looking to upgrade your studio. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys on the next video.